Aha! Hey guys! So today, I'm gonna read a book named African American Inventors. So this story is about African American who invents something that is really kind of interesting. And also you will know it later, but my favorite inventor here is Dr. Patricia Beth because she was the one who, I'm not gonna spoil, who invents something which is about eyes. And yeah, that's why this is my favorite, because if you mess one part up, you cannot even see it, but if you did it correct, then it's worth it. So I think she's very amazing. So let's just get right into it. Wow!
African American Inventors. Introduction. Inventors create new things. Their invention solve problem or make life better in some way. Throughout our history, African Americans have invented many important things. John D. Love received a patent for a pencil sharpener in 1887. Garrett Morgan received a patent for an early type of traffic signal on November 20th, 1923. John Portery and James Sedgwick patented a folding chair in 1889. Benjamin Banneker. Benjamin Banneker was born on a farm in Maryland in 1731. At that time, Maryland was one of the 13 British colonies in North America. Most African American people in the colonies were enslaved, but Benjamin's parents were free. Because Benjamin was born to a free family, he could go to school. Benjamin went to local school for boys. He was so good at math that he soon knew more than his teacher. After he finished his education, Benjamin worked on a family farm. Benjamin's life changed when he was 20 years old. He met a man who owns a pocket watch. The watch had been made in Europe. Benjamin was so interested in the watch that the man let him keep it. Benjamin studied the watch, its parts, and the way it was made. He decided to make his own clock out of wood. It was the first clock ever made in North America. Benjamin used his clock to measure the movement of the stars. He used math to figure out the position of the stars, sun, moon, and planets. Years later, he wrote an almanac. An almanac is a book that lists the position of the sun, moon, and planets for every day of the year. Benjamin wrote a new almanac every year for 6 years. People read it to find out when the sun and moon would rise and set. They read it to find out how the weather would change each season. Many farmers used Benjamin's almanac so they would know when to plant their crops. He was as famous for his almanac as he was for his clock. Sarah E. Good. We know quite a bit about Benjamin Banneker. We know very little about Sarah E. Good. What we do know is that she was the first African American woman to receive a patent for an invention. A patent is a legal paper. It is given out by the United States government in Washington, D.C. A person who invents something can get a patent to prove that he or she was the first to have made it. No one else can say they invented that same thing. Sarah was born in southern states in 1850. She was born into slavery. When slavery ended, Sarah was a teenager. She was able to go to school once she was free. After she received her education, Sarah moved to Chicago, Illinois. Sarah must have been smart and hardworking. By the time she was 35 years old, she owned her own business. Sarah Good was the owner of a furniture store. Many African American people were moving from southern states to northern states in the 1870s and 1880s. They moved into apartment houses. Sometimes many people slept in one room. This was because many people did not have enough money to rent their own rooms. Sarah had an idea of making a bed that could fit in a small space. It could fold up during the day and unfold at night. She worked out the design. Then she made a model. Sarah called the invention a cabinet bed. When it was folded up, it could be used as a desk. There was even a place for keeping pens and paper. Sarah did not want anyone else to copy her invention. She made sure of that by getting a patent. We do not know how many cabinet beds Sarah made. We do know that her idea is still helpful for people. Folding beds are still in use today. George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver was born in Missouri about 1861. Like Sarah E. Good, he was born into slavery. His family was enslaved by a couple named Carver. George was raised by Mr. and Mrs. Carver. George loved the Carver farm with all of its plants and animals. He planted his own garden. Soon, he knew so much about plants that people called him the plant doctor. George wanted to go to school to learn more about plants. Slavery was over, so he was free to leave the Carver farm. It took him 20 years to get enough education and save enough money to enter college. George went to college in Iowa. He was the first African American student at the school. He studied farming and learned even more about plants. When he graduated, he became a teacher. George taught at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. It was the college for African American people. He studied plants at the college. George told farmers that peanut and sweet potatoes were good crops to grow. He found that he could make 118 different products from the sweet potato. This includes soap, coffee, and glue. George learned that he could do even more with peanuts. He made over 300 different products from peanuts. Some of these were peanut butter, ice cream, paper, ink, shaving cream, and shampoo. George only received 3 patents for the product he invented. He believed that most of them should belong to everyone. Patricia Beth MD. Patricia Beth was born more than 75 years after George Washington Carver. Patricia was born in the northern state. She grew up in the New York City neighborhood of Harlem. Like George Washington Carver, she was still young when she began to study living things. Her special interest was human diseases. After high school, she got a job helping people who study cancer. In the college, Patricia studied chemistry. Then she went to medical school. She decided to study eye diseases. She wanted to find out how to remove cataracts. Cataracts are like clouds in the land of the eye. They make everything look cloudy. Patricia designed an instrument for removing cataracts. It gives off a powerful beam of light that breaks up the cataract. Then it can be removed. In 1988, Patricia received a patent for the instrument she invented. She was the first African American woman to get a patent for the medical invention. Since then, she has invented other eye instruments. Her work has allowed many people to see again. Inventors changed the world. The story of these 4 inventors show how African American inventors have helped make life better for all Africans throughout history. Benjamin Banneker helped people keep time and know the position of the stars and planets. Sarah Good made furniture for people to use in small homes. George Washington Carver made hundreds of products from sweet potatoes and peanuts. Dr. Patricia Beth invented a cure for one kind of blindness. The world is better because of their work.
So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do enjoy it, don't forget to click that like button and also subscribe if you're new to this channel. So, this story was kind of intense because it was long, but also kind of like that, like, you don't want to post this video because it's a kind of interesting, that much interesting. I mean, like, I actually did not thought that African American inventors have invented those important things like camel bed. That's like, I thought only like the I don't, yeah, there American invented that, but not African American. So yeah, it's actually kind of cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.